Today we are doing an official groundbreaking for the widening of I-10 from LA 42, also known as Highland, down to LA 73 in Ascension, the Prairieville exit. And it's exciting because this is a design build project. It was the fastest in the history of us using design build, and partly because the project was a little bit more advanced than others. So we also did some innovation of having parallel assessment of applications and proposals. And so we had a great turnout from elected officials at the local government level, as well as the Senate and the legislature, to help celebrate this very important project. It's going to be 6.5 miles of widened interstate, and the governor made a very good point that by widening it, we run a greater chance, if we have additional flooding situations, of only closing a lane and not two roads in each direction. So we're excited about what this is going to do for the state's economy as well as for travelers. We expect folks in Ascension to have about a 10 to 15 minute reduction in their commute to Baton Rouge once this project is finished. I'd like to say to the governor, thank you for giving me the opportunity to lead an outstanding department of really dedicated state employees. And thank you for giving all of us the opportunity to demonstrate what's possible and what can be achieved with good ideas, good efforts, and good intentions. In honor of your second anniversary, I do have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is I closed the first bridge of 2018 today in Lafayette Parish. That's the bad news. The good news is that we're widening I-10 from Baton Rouge to Ascension. And it's good news because this was one of the governor's priorities, and there's nothing like having a good day that a secretary has delivered on the governor's priorities. So I'm excited to celebrate and be here with you to that. With the full support of Governor Edwards, the U.S. Department of Transportation, represented by one of my most valuable partners, Wes Bollinger, who never wants to speak. Where's Wes? Wes is back there. And of course, our congressional delegation, Senator Kennedy and Senator Cassidy and Congressman Graves and Congressman Richmond. They all have, I believe, someone here today. And of course, the members of the House and Senate Transportation Committees. Because this is a design build project, it would not be possible without the vote of the support of Representative Havard and of course Senator Cortez and their various committee members. And so I've seen a few of them, see Denise Marcel and Representative Brown and others who are in the legislature, but on our transportation committee, they're here and are excited to help us move one step closer to reducing congestion on what is one of the most significant corridors, not just for this state, but for the country. Today is a great example of how we can deliver meaningful enhancements to our transportation system when we have the dollars to do it. So I'm proud to be standing here on behalf of the 4,200 people of the department delivering on this very important and efficient I-10 design build project. And so as we celebrate the second anniversary of this governor, I'm happy to tell you, having worked for several governors and several secretaries, it is absolutely a super thing to have a governor who understands transportation and allows us to deliver good ideas and suggestions, and he gives us 10% support. So with that said, let me invite Governor John Bell Edwards to come say a few words this afternoon.
Thank all of you, and thank you, Dr. Sean Wilson. I called him Mr. Secretary, and I think it may be more appropriate to call him Dr. Secretary, but for your leadership at DOTD, and I do give him 110% support. I just wish we had the revenue that was dedicated to transportation infrastructure that I could give him 100% of what he needs to deliver for the state of Louisiana. But this project today does deliver for the state of Louisiana. That's why I'm excited to be here. You know, it's been 2 years today, as you've just been reminded, since the term began. And we have made the very best decisions we can make under difficult circumstances, all involving resource constraints, whether it's the operational budget, whether it is the capital outlay budget, whether it is the revenues that are available to transportation infrastructure. And the truth is, the more constrained you are, the more important it is that you make the best possible decision, because you've got to actually have priorities. And then you've got to fund those priorities if you're going to move forward. And that's what this represents today. We've actually, now, on my second anniversary, we've made investing in transportation infrastructure a top priority. And the current investment of this administration is now exceeds $1 billion. Not as much as we need to invest if we're going to have the quality of life that we want. Not as much as we need to invest if we're going to attract the investment from folks who are already in Louisiana or outside of Louisiana from around the world to create jobs and all of those sorts of things, but doing the best we can with what we have. Our efforts are significant, and they're going to continue to be strategic and concentrate on interstate improvements, because we have to move commerce, but we also have to move the mom taking her daughter to soccer practice or to the dentist or to school. All of these things are important. And here in the Baton Rouge region, we're focused on the interstate system, particularly I-10. We have to have improved infrastructure. We have to prioritize safety. We have to enhance communities and make this region more accessible to the state and to the nation. And that's why it was a year and a half ago that Sean and I were so pleased to announce that we had received a $60 million fast lane grant from the Federal Department of Transportation. And this grant went directly to this corridor, but over in the Acadiana region to widen the I-10 between I-49 and the Atchafalaya Basin. And that project is currently underway and certainly leads to Baton Rouge. And as you get closer to Baton Rouge on I-10, we're working on a cable barrier project that is already saving lives. It stretches from the Basin Bridge to the LA 415, I should say, and includes additional technological devices to provide advanced warning of congestion. And that cable barrier project is coming to a conclusion. Yesterday, and you should all be excited about this too, we opened bids on the Washington Terrace Street off-ramp, a project that we advanced and fully funded because of the fast lane grant that I mentioned a while ago. And it is that off-ramp that is then going to allow us to petition the federal government to make the change on I-10 so that we're not reduced to one through travel lane as you travel east across the Mississippi River Bridge. So we are making real progress. But we've got to do more, and that's why we're here today to celebrate the groundbreaking of yet another major widening project, I-10 between Highland Road and LA 73. And I want to thank Sean and all the people involved in this, because this is the fastest design build project in the history of the Department of Transportation. It's going to widen 6.5 miles of I-10 from 2 lanes in each direction to 3 lanes in each direction, from Highland Road to the Prairieville exit at LA 73. And as all of you know who are here, this is probably the corridor that is most in need of this widening in the state of Louisiana. And that's why I say we have to prioritize and spend our dollars as wisely as possible. $72 million. Oh, by the way, I think we're replacing the LA 42 overpass as well. We're doing that? I'm sorry, the Highland overpass as well. The $72 million widening project is funded using a variety of state and federal dollars, but also $40 million of federal funding that was repurposed because it was previously earmarked to go to other states. We're working with our congressional delegation and having shovel-ready projects like this one in Louisiana. We were able to bring those dollars back home. And I will never apologize for or be bashful about asking the federal government for dollars to come to Louisiana for transportation infrastructure, but it was Sean who made this possible, working with our congressional delegation, and I want to thank him for that. Investing in this section of I-10 is going to improve safety and efficiency for 95,000 motorists. I think there have been 95,000 passed by since I've started speaking a while ago, so I think your count may be off, Sean. But 95,000 motorists travel this section every day. And so making it safer, making it wider is going to be important. And one of the things that is noteworthy, and hopefully this doesn't continue, both because we build our roads better and because we have fewer disasters, every major stretch of interstate in the state of Louisiana has been closed at some point in the last 18 months, including I-10 right here. And so hopefully this construction job is going to reduce the likelihood of that happening, or at least improve the likelihood that if we have to close it, we're closing lanes and not the entire interstate, and we'll be able to keep traffic moving both eastbound and westbound. So this is great news for residents and businesses, but also for freight transportation, as it's going to strengthen I-10 as a critical economic corridor. And by the way, I-10 isn't just critical for the state of Louisiana or East Baton Rouge Parish and Ascension Parish. I-10 is one of the most critical interstate corridors in the United States of America. It's one more example of making the right decisions and the right investments. And I want to thank everyone who's helped move it forward. I'm going to thank in advance the people who are going to bring it to completion. The folks at James Construction who awarded this job. I look forward to working with you and seeing this job done well and hopefully ahead of time. I also want to thank again our congressional delegation, all the legislators who were up here. Particularly I want to thank Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome and of East Baton Rouge, but I also want to thank President Kenny Matassa of Ascension Parish for their leadership and working so closely with me and with Sean and all the folks at DOTD. And I thank Sean a lot because he deserves it. But he's got incredibly committed, dedicated, professional people working at DOTD, and none of these projects move forward without them. So I want to thank the folks who work at DOTD to make this project possible. God bless you. God bless the state of Louisiana. I'm looking forward to the next couple years and some more beside that as well. Thank you. God bless you.
As the governor stated, this project is contracted to Primoris Corporation, which is the parent company of James Construction. We're excited to have a Louisiana company who's done some great work around here that will widen this 6.5-mile stretch of I-10 from 2 lanes in each direction to 3 lanes in each direction, from Highland to 73 in Prairieville. This I-10 overpass at Highland Road will be replaced as a part of this project to allow for a more robust and fully defined traffic plan to occur under the overpass on the interstate. I will tell you that that part of this project is yet to be funded, but we are looking toward completing that interchange modification report, Wes, and having a solution in place for additional dollars that we hope will come. As the governor said, this project is being funded by repurposed earmarks, and a number of people in our department work to help reprioritize projects that either were having difficulties or had actually been completed and dollars were just sitting on the books. This will be a very different corridor while it's under construction, and I want to say a word about safety considering all of the great things that we've been able to achieve. We've seen tremendous upticks in accidents on the I-10 corridor where we're constructing a widened I-10 between Baton Rouge and Lafayette. And so we don't want that to happen. So we would encourage folks to pay attention to 511la.org, plan your travel ahead and leave early. Consider alternate routes where that's possible and put the phones down, and most of all, drive the speed limit. I've got more people doing above 70 miles per hour on I-10 in a construction zone than I have actually doing the speed limit, and that's a very dangerous situation to be in. So be alert, be attentive, and most importantly, be alive, or the men in blue that you see standing over to my left will write you a ticket, and we welcome you to pay that ticket early. So with this project getting underway, we'll ultimately have 13 miles of wider, safer I-10 that will connect East Baton Rouge Parish and every point west of Ascension Parish down to South Louisiana. And unfortunately, the reality of major enhancements like this project will be very limited as we move forward due to the limited revenues we've got. Waiting to invest results in more needs, more expensive projects, and an overall lower quality of life for our citizens. And so since we all share constituents and we all have folks that we work for, there are a number of people that are standing behind us that we'd like to ask to come on up and say a few words, and I'll call them out in this order so you don't have to continue to hear from me. Our chairman of transportation, Kenny Havard, was supposed to be here, but he's unable to make it. We'll have Senator Claytor, then Representative Edmond, then Senator Lambert, and then Representative Bacala. They all represent the footprint where this district sits, or this project sits. And then we'll have Mayor President Broome and then Parish President Kenny Matassa to come up, and then I'll come back for further directions.
Thank you. I'm Dan Clater. I'm the senator for where we're sitting right here today. We've said a lot of thanks, and there are a lot of people to be thanked for the work that happens here, but I also want to say that we don't ever forget in government that those guys and gals that are going to be writing their checks on April 15th and May 15th to pay their federal and state income taxes, we don't lose sight of. You're the folks that we're working for. So when you write that check, think about this project and see that you're getting a return on your investment in Louisiana. Thank you.
We're excited today. We just want to say concrete, concrete, concrete. Can you believe what we'd be so excited about? You know, the governor's right, over 90,000 in this district, and I know you find yourself on any kind of tributary you can get on to try to get around, and we know that we have congestion problems all over the state, and this is one sort of incremental step to get us where we need to be in infrastructure. And I just want to thank, as the governor has already done so well, Sean is great to work with, and Josh and all the department. Thank you for involving me today. You know, I want to say this in part of congestion when we say it's so negative. You know, in life you get to choose what you're going to focus on. You know, I'm a hunter and fisherman like so many people in South Louisiana, and so in the middle of the night you might find yourself out on a lake somewhere out fishing, and you'll look out and see all the stars, and you can't fish anymore because you're focused on something that just grasps your attention. Or maybe you're at the beach on the afternoon in the summertime with your family. You just can't help it because it's such a beautiful thing. That's sort of what it is today. Baton Rouge may be congested, or may be some other issues, but this is a great place to live. It's a great place for our families. Let me remind you, not only do we see this, but in the past few months, we've been at groundbreakings for things like the Knock Knock Museum, which is absolutely incredible. If you haven't visited there, you need to go there. The Water Campus, which is incredible. We just did a whole time there, and the governor invited us to be a part of that. Our brand new emergency room on the north side. Let me just remind you, there's some great things going on in Baton Rouge. This is one of those great things. So we choose what we get to focus on. Let's together, as members of the state of Louisiana, and especially as residents and constituents here in Baton Rouge, let's focus on the good things that make us thankful to be a part of the great state of Louisiana and a part of being residents here in Baton Rouge. Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Sean, and thank you for my colleagues for being here today. This is a great day. Let's celebrate it together.
Thank you all. My name is Eddie Lambert. I'm the senator that represents this area, and I want to thank the governor and the congressional delegation, especially Senator Cassidy, Senator Kennedy, Representative Graves, and Representative Richmond. We have a very fast-growing area in Ascension Parish. This part of East Baton Rouge and Ascension is really growing. The petrochemical industry in Ascension is growing tremendously. It's opening up a lot of jobs, and our biggest challenge is congestion and infrastructure. This project is going to go a long way to help solve those problems. It's also going to make a big difference in the impact and the quality of life for the people in Ascension Parish and in East Baton Rouge that travel this road. We have tremendous congestion as a result of this growth. And Governor, I want to thank you again, and I'm also going to ask you while we're doing this that we look at Highway 74 as an interchange there. I think that is going to be a key factor in helping relieving some of this congestion. And I can see all my Ascension constituents shaking their heads. But that would also be a great project, and also what's good about a project like that, we can do it without interrupting people because it's a new construction and we won't be affecting traffic. So please consider that. Thank you.
Governor, we really appreciate this project in Ascension Parish. And as introductions go, I want to make sure that we recognize a prior long-term chairman of the Transportation Committee, former Representative Juba Diaz, in the audience. Glad to have you, Juba. Still deeply involved. The governor mentioned that it's been, we're at our 2-year anniversary. Darn it, it feels more like 6 sessions, Governor. On a serious note, we talk about concrete, and we talk about lanes, and we talk about barriers. What we're really talking about is people. Because it's people who we think about when we choose these projects and we look at where we best spend the tax dollar. This project was selected because the cost benefit was so high. You couldn't ignore the fact that for the dollars spent, the increase in capacity, the savings in time for the people who travel the highways, the increase in the safety, it's about people. And I'm very proud that the governor and the secretary pursued this project, and they put it on, not only to pursue it, but put it on a fast track. And the people of Ascension and the people of Baton Rouge and the people who just travel from California to Florida will all see the benefit of a very well-conceived project. And I just want to give a personal thanks to the governor and to Sean for making this possible. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is indeed a great day for East Baton Rouge Parish and Ascension Parish, and I certainly want to thank Secretary Wilson for his leadership, but I also want to say to Governor John Bell Edwards, I can tell you, Governor, as Mayor President, it is very great to have a governor that works hand in hand with you to advance the capital city. So thank you so much, Governor, for your leadership as well. You know, as Secretary Wilson was speaking, he started talking about the need for safety. And of course, as we go on with this project, there will be a little discomfort, but I call that temporary discomfort for long-term gain. Because as we talk about the issues of economic development, as we talk about growth in the city and parish, we certainly have to consider traffic congestion. And this gets us a little closer to relieving traffic congestion in Baton Rouge. I don't know about you, but I hear a lot about traffic congestion as Mayor President. And I would say, based on the crowd here today, that you all consider this a major initiative as well. And so I want to thank the legislative delegation who's here, our congressional delegation for their role, and I'd like to thank the public for their continued support of our efforts to ease traffic in our parish. And I would certainly like to commend all of the leaders for helping to bring this project to fruition. Now it gives me great pleasure to bring up my friend and colleague, President Kenny Matassa.
Thank you, Sharon. We work very close with Sharon on projects of this nature and drainage projects. I'm so pleased to be here today to witness the beginning of the end of the bottleneck traffic that we have in one of the fastest growing regions, well, the fastest growing region in the state and in our area. I want to thank our governor and secretary for all of the hard work that they do for Ascension, and especially our delegation. Senator Lambert's been working on this for years. Senator Barclay, this is his district. Johnny Berthelot, Mr. Scheck-Snyder, Clay Scheck-Snyder, and Senator Price. The federal delegation has always helped us, and we are very pleased that they came through with some money for this. You know, these type of projects really mean a lot to the people, and I think people need to see, like when the Senator said that when you write that check for your tax, you see projects like this, which is really great. But I remember I went to a meeting about 2 years ago with Crisis showed us their studies that showed what we can do to relieve some of the pressure, and the chart showed this interstate project to be sky high. It was by far the number one project, and I'm glad to see within 2 years the project is funded and starting. It's great. Anyway, thanks again, Governor, and Sean, and all our delegation. Thank you very much.
Thank you to all the speakers, and I looked over here when one senator was supposed to be, but here's a member of our Transportation Committee, Senator Erdy. Thank you for being here and supporting us in this effort. You know, the governor acknowledged a group of people, and we don't always get to do that as cabinet members, and I think Colonel Reeves over there would compliment to the highest degree all of his officers, and the same goes for me and every other cabinet member. Without the folks who work behind us to help deliver on the vision and the decisions and the efforts we put out, it wouldn't be possible. So I'd like to think about the design build team at the department, specifically our executive counsel, Cheryl Duviel, who kind of leads that effort for us, a tremendously talented executive staff, even with the new chief engineer and the new assistant secretary of operations. It's a collective effort. But we've got folks down in the organization, Peggy Jo, who's our project manager, the area engineers, Greg Coco and Aaron Elazar, and of course, Chad Vosberg, who is our district administrator here. Join me in giving them and all of the employees at DOTD a big round of applause. They would love to build that 74 interchange, but we need some money. I'll just say that. And then I'd like to also thank our design build team, James Construction Group, along with Sigma, Huval, ECM, and AECOM. And lastly, I'd like to thank Blue Bayou Water Park for allowing us to be here, and we're all still dry at the water park, which is a good thing, and we're excited about that. And thank all of you for coming out to be a part of this completion project. Projects like this mean so much to so many people, and it's really great when you see a big turnout for something as simple as a groundbreaking, because we know it's going to be very difficult in the days to come. The last thing I'm going to say before we turn dirt is I'd like to ask everyone who is interested to please sign up on the sheet in the back for project updates. We're going to have a very robust public outreach effort to ensure that the commute times and that the frustration is held to a minimum in terms of how the project moves forward. And I'd like to thank all of the other agencies that are here. State Police is here in full force with the Colonel. Just so many people that contribute and partner with us throughout the life of a project.
3. All right, we'll do one more turn. 1, 2, 3. All right.
$72 million is not going very far, to be honest with you. That's the reality that we live with. The most exciting thing is this is progress. It's going to be very difficult for folks because we're going to reduce some of their comfort zone. We're going to maintain 2 lanes of traffic in each direction, but we've seen in other projects, particularly the I-10 job from Lafayette to Breaux Bridge, we see tremendous increase in accidents, and I'm always concerned about public safety in commuters and making sure people make it home at night, particularly construction workers, because we forget about them. So I will tell folks, go to 511la.org, leave early, find alternative routes, put the phones down and don't be distracted, be alert, be attentive, and you'll be alive.
I'm excited. I see all of the legislators there. They know. We all hear from our constituents in this area, but not just the ones who live here. The people who use this stretch of road, they come from all over the state of Louisiana. People who may be coming through to work in New Orleans or to recreate in Baton Rouge or whatever, but to make this 4-lane stretch 6 lanes, it's incredibly important, and it is exciting. But it also illustrates how important it is to be able to do these types of transportation infrastructure problems and how much further we have to go. We are too resource constrained. We need to be announcing these projects and going out and doing groundbreakings every couple of weeks because our transportation infrastructure is sorely lacking, and we're going to have to find the resolve to come up with the revenue that's necessary to do more of these projects. But that's for another day. Today is celebrating the fact that we're starting this project here. You know, it's the fastest ever design build that's been undertaken by DOTD, a $72 million project. I'm just excited about it, and I'm looking forward to seeing it come to fruition.
I'm excited about today because certainly relieving traffic congestion is a priority for my administration, but it's good to be able to collaborate with the state, with our federal partners as it relates to our congressional delegation to have this widening take place. And I believe it will certainly add to relieving traffic congestion in our city and in our parish.
This is one of the fastest growing regions of the state, and the biggest challenge to continue the growth that we've had here is transportation infrastructure. Because of the congestion, because of the lack of infrastructure for investors to be able to come and either add to their existing operation or investors who want to come in and have a brand new operation. What we don't have is the good highway system to get to and from. We've got the Mississippi River right here, but it's the highway system that lacks the wherewithal to continue to attract these investors. And so it's important that we continue to prioritize this, and this will go a long way in showing just how important transportation infrastructure is to us in Louisiana. And hopefully will lead to other legislators in other parts of the state becoming more serious about addressing the transportation infrastructure shortfall that we have.
If people have questions like more information about this project or other DOTD projects, what should they do?
They should go to our website at dotd.la.gov. We're also going to grow a much more robust public outreach where folks can say, I want to be added to an information update list that will come straight to your inbox or to your Twitter feed if you go to My DOTD, and it'll tell you where the project is and when you might have an exceptional closing of more than just the shoulder or an additional lane, or if we're doing some bridge work that's going to impact your commute time, we'll provide that information to you. So just call us. We'll help you get there.